Ready for a deep dive into a career change.
Let's do it.
We're breaking down this awesome story about a woman named Rachel.
Yeah.
She made a big career change,
Yeah.
all within Microsoft.
Right.
And it's super inspiring. So
Yeah.
we're going to unpack exactly how she navigated that.
Yeah. And what's interesting is right from the start, Rachel was already really driven. Like, she was all about making a real impact. You know, she transitioned from finance to engineering at Microsoft. And that wasn't about climbing the ladder. It was more about being closer to the actual work. So she was laser focused on work that really resonated with her.
It's like she wanted something that, felt really meaningful.
Totally. And you know, that's something to think about. A lot of people, they're stuck, but they're looking at the next rung on the ladder instead of what really drives them.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So, okay, so she's ambitious, but there's this other interesting thing. She hesitated to network.
Yeah.
Like, she even put off contacting people in customer success, even though she kind of knew it could help her.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I think we see this with a lot of high achievers. They're used to success being easily measured, you know, like in finance.
Numbers.
Right, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, but then this strength, it becomes a hurdle when they have to explain their value in other ways.
Yeah, like how do you measure networking?
Exactly.
It's not like a spreadsheet.
Right. They're not sure how to show off their skills without all the numbers.
Yeah, so they hesitate.
Totally.
Right.
And they're also afraid of looking unqualified.
Yeah.
Like, they're out of their depth.
So how did she get past all that?
Yeah, so Rachel, she had this big realization. She realized she didn't have to be defined by what she saw as her weaknesses. It wasn't about becoming someone totally different.
Okay.
It was more about breaking free from habits that weren't working for her anymore.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine what we could all do if we could silence that inner critic
It's so true.
and really focus on growth.
It's about recognizing we all have areas where we can improve. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a limitation.
Totally.
It's an opportunity.
And that's where this Women Rising program comes in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, this program, it gave her the tools and the support to really face those challenges
Wow.
and, you know, break through barriers.
So how does this Women Rising program actually help her make that change?
It's more than just what they offered. It's about what Rachel actually did because of it.
Okay.
Like, they really pushed accountability. And that coaching structure, that's what she needed to actually network. And that directly led to her job opportunity.
Wow. So sometimes we just need a little push to get out of our comfort zone.
Totally.
But it wasn't just about that, right? The program also helped her understand herself better,
Yeah.
like with Clifton's strengths.
Right. And that's a cool tool. It helps you figure out your own unique talents.
So for someone who's never heard of that before, how does that even work?
So basically, we all have these natural talents, things we do really well without even thinking about it. And Clifton Strengths, it identifies like your top 5.
Okay.
It shows you where you have the most potential.
That makes sense.
It's not about putting you in a box. It's about figuring out how you already shine.
I love that.
And then you can use that to be more successful and happier.
So for someone like Rachel thinking about a career change,
Yeah.
that must have been so helpful.
Totally. It gives you direction
Yeah.
and confidence.
Okay, so we've got accountability and self-awareness. Was there anything else that really helped her?
Oh, yeah. They introduced her to this book, How Women Rise.
Okay.
And it had a huge impact on her.
What was it about the book that really resonated with her?
Well, it talks about these behaviors and communication patterns that can help or hurt women at work.
Interesting.
And for Rachel, it was like a light bulb moment.
Like she was finally seeing these dynamics playing out in her own workplace.
Right.
The unwritten rules.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm adding that to my reading list.
It's got some really useful advice for anyone.
So we talked about accountability, self-awareness with Clifton Strengths, and the book How Women Rise. But how did all of this actually show up in her work life?
It was a total transformation.
Wow.
And her confidence. It wasn't just from external validation in the new role.
Okay.
It was about finding work that used her strengths.
That makes so much sense.
Like finding that sweet spot where your natural talents are valued.
Yeah.
And that's intrinsic motivation.
When your work actually uses your strengths.
Yeah, and it aligns with what you care about.
And you're passionate about
You
it.
can't fake that kind of energy.
So for Rachel, her analytical skills, which were fine in finance,
Yeah.
they became really valuable in customer success.
Exactly.
It's amazing how she went from, like you said, just being fine to really being celebrated for those skills.
And that's the thing, right? When your talents are actually seen as strengths, it changes everything.
Totally.
Right.
Now, Rachel changing her whole career within the same company, that's not something you see every day.
Right.
Why do you think people stay put when maybe a change would be good for them?
It's a really common thing. It's called the sunk cost fallacy.
Okay.
It's that feeling of, well, I've already put in so much time.
Right.
I've invested so much, so I got to stick with it, even if it's not really working.
It's like watching a movie. You paid for the ticket,
Yeah,
but you're not enjoying it.
exactly.
But you're like, well, I'm already here.
You got to get your money's worth.
Exactly.
But sometimes you're better off just walking out
Totally.
and finding something you actually like.
So true. Okay, so we know Rachel was hesitant to network, and it turns out her background played a role in that.
How so?
She was really into competitive sailing,
Wow, interesting.
and she said that environment, it kind of shaped how she saw women in the workplace.
That makes sense in a way.
Yeah, it was all about competition,
Right.
not so much about collaboration.
So she saw other women as competition.
Yeah, and it wasn't until this program that she saw how powerful it could be to have other women supporting her.
It's amazing how our experiences can shape us, even in ways we don't realize.
Right.
We form these beliefs, and we don't even question them
Right.
until something comes along and challenges them.
It makes you think, who do I have in my corner?
Yeah.
Who's supporting me? Who's cheering me on?
Those people are so important. They can make all the difference.
Absolutely. Well, that's our deep dive into Rachel's story. It's really inspiring. She went from hesitant to totally embracing change.
Yeah, and she ended up finding a career she loved
Exactly. And it all started with taking that first step.
and finding the right support system.
That's so true. This has been The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.